Good morning. Happy Martin Luther King Day. This is Martin Luther King Jr. being taken away and being arrested because he fought for injustice in the world against segregation. And it says Martin Luther King Jr., born 1929 to 1968. King was an American minister and civil rights leader and winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. In the tradition of natural law ethics, Dr. King believed that one had a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws, a position that led to his arrest on several occasions. It says here from a Birmingham jail, from the Birmingham jail where he was imprisoned. By the way, this is from a book by Chaffee, John Chaffee, The Philosopher's Way. It says from the Birmingham jail where he was imprisoned as an participant in nonviolent demonstrations against segregation, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote in longhand the passages of a remarkable letter. It was in his response to a public statement of concern and caution issued by 8 white religious leaders of the South. Like St. Thomas Aquinas, King believed that there was a natural law containing universal moral principles by which a society could be judged. There are occasions when our commitment to natural law demands civil disobedience against unjust laws, as Dr. King contends in Letter from a Birmingham jail, April 16, 1963. King begins his letter by invoking the natural law argument that when unethical man-made laws conflict with natural law, we have a moral responsibility to actively protest these unethical laws, for, as St. Augustine contended, an unjust law is no law at all. He says, you express a great, this is him, right, his actual writing. It says, you express a great deal of anxiety over our willingness to break laws. This is certainly a legitimate concern, since we so diligently urge people to obey the Supreme Court's decision of 1954 outlawing segregation in the public schools. At first glance, it may seem paradoxical for us consciously to break laws. One may well ask, how can you advocate breaking some laws and obeying others? The answer lies in the fact that there are 2 types of laws, just and unjust. I would be the first to advocate obeying just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. I would agree with St. Augustine that an unjust law is no law at all. And then I like what he says when he's trying to explain whether a law is just or unjust. It says, any law that uplifts the human personality is just, while any law that degrades the human personality is unjust. Applying this as a criterion, all segregation statutes are unjust because segregation distorts the soul and damages the personality. It gives the person imposing segregation a false sense of superiority and the victim of segregation a false sense of inferiority. And I'm going to skip over. It says, thus, King says, I hope you are able to see the distinction I am trying to point out. In no sense do I advocate evading or defying the law, as would the rabid segregationist. That would lead to anarchy. One who breaks an unjust law must do so openly, lovingly, and with a willingness to accept the penalty. I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustice is in reality expressing the highest respect for law. What a great man, right? So, keep him in your prayers, because we can pray for the dead and we can pray for their families. And he was a great man. And I had very high respect for him. Okay, and it says prayer by, there's also a lady I found on YouTube, which I just really love her, listening to her lately. Yesterday I started, and her name is Carolyn Myss, Myss. And she says if you could take 3 words out of your vocabulary, you would be like less depressed, you'd be happy, you'd be so much happier. And those 3 words are blame, entitled, and deserve. Like we blame, it says when you blame anything or anybody, it takes you out of your present, and it puts toxic perceptions in you. When you blame others, toxic perceptions in you. And then she also says you're not entitled to anything. So we shouldn't go through like thinking we deserve this and you're entitled to this, and and blaming is the worst. I do believe that's the worst. That's the one I had trouble with, But so choose to get up, she says anyway. She says this is what you need to do. Choose to get up every day and bless your day. I wrote it word for word. I said, she says, so she said, like, get up and here's what you say. Choose to get up every day and bless your day. I have no idea what is going to be in my day, but it is blessed. Why? Because I am alive. And don't base your gratitude of your life on what you have or how you feel. But just because you are, she says, just because you are. And then hold in your heart this prayer. This day in my life will never come again. I will never see the people I am looking at again. I will never see the sunrise again. I will never see that sunset. I will never see the person having breakfast with me again just this way. No, nothing in my life like this will ever come again. That choice alone should take out of your heart every bitter taste there is, that it should shape the life around you with such grace and such beauty that make you only want to see the present with great gratitude and love. Isn't that nice? Okay, so let's do our magic 10. Bless this day and bless our exercise, Lord. Because she was saying too, sometimes we're just lazy. We know it's going to make us healthy. And lightly, all I've ever heard is all you need is about 10 or 15 minutes of exercise to help you, you should do that, maybe 3 times a week is all. So, let's do this so that we can say we're not being lazy and we're just taking care of our bodies, and it is the best thing we can do, right? So let's do our magic 10. And let's go ahead and stand up. On this beautiful Martin Luther cold day. It's even cold in Florida today. Let me turn this up here a little. And let's just really enjoy our movements. Grace and gratitude. Can we be graceful and gratitude today? Or just just because we are, okay? Tummy's in. We do live in a great country where we can tolerate. Jesus came for us to be able to tolerate our differences. And that's why he came. Not that we, think everybody that's different than us is evil. That was not what Jesus came for. He wants us to tolerate each other. No matter what our differences are. Politics, or color, or male, female, all that doesn't matter. Jesus wants us to tolerate each other. All right, here we go. So put your head front. We'll roll our heads. Just work it out because it's good for you. Now roll your head the other way. Let's go front and back. Roll your shoulders. Let's reverse it. Big rolls. All right, chest. Roll it. Reverse it and roll it. And hips. And roll it. And reverse. And roll it. Alright, foot. Let's roll your foot. Another way. Put your foot back and here, stretch. Stretch your calf there. Now bend your knee a little. Good. And here, roll your foot. Other way. Working your ankles. And stretch it. Bend your knee. Feel that stretch in your calf. Let's go here. And rolls up. Roll up. Working your ankles. Hold it. Tummy's in. And go forward. And we're going to bend forward. And bend your knees. And straighten. Bend your knees. And up. Roll it up. Come on, do it with me. And bend your knees. And up. Arms out and let's go this way. And here. Reach up behind you. And up here. And just lift your leg up. 2, 3, and 4. Alright. Good. Alright, let's go ahead and plank. Go front. Just hold it here. Very good for your body. Planking. Helps your tummy. Helps everything. And arch it up. Look up. And back. Downward dog. Hips right. Left. Right. And left. Bring it in. Bend your knees. And roll it up. Woo. Breathe. Just breathe. And let's go forward again. Front. Plank. Arch it up. And back. And your hips right. Left, right, and left. And bring it in. Bend your knees. Roll it up. And let's squat. And squat. Let's go up on releve. And squat. Releve. Squat. Releve. Squat. Releve. Good for you. Good for your buns. Let's squat. And then go here. Squat. Twist. Squat. Twist. Squat. Twist. Squat. Twist. Squat. Twist. Squat. Squat. And twist. Good. And go side to side. Touch your knee. Touch your foot. Go all the way down. Feel that stretch? Whoops. Other way and this way. Alright, sit down. Legs apart. Out to the side. Feel that stretching. Good. Alright. You can see my whole foot and there we go. Ow. Charlie hearts or something there. Come on, derriere. Okay, bend to the side. Now face your leg and bend. Bend front. Bend front. Good. This way. In front. Good. All right. Let's do ups. We'll do it here. Push-ups here. 3, 4, 5. 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it up. Let's put our knees in and in. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, squeeze, 8, squeeze, and 10. Hold it. Good. Bend forward a little bit. Let's do our push-ups. You can do it with your knees down or not. You can do that mini push-ups too if you want. Mini will just be like this, or just little push-ups like this. Or you put your knees down and go ahead and down. Do what you can. Stretch back. Let's do some more and 10 more. Which is 6, huh? Because I said magic 10, so we're at 6. Stretch it out. Kick it out. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once you put your foot back and just lift it up for 10. Good. Other foot, or other leg. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick it out and 1. Woo. Don't kick the chair. Good. Up here. What do you do? Just left here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo! Feel that, guys? Woo! Cat stretch. And arch it up. And back and down. And up. Tummies in. And down. Woo! Nice. And we stretch it out. Try to do our splits. Just stretch it. Do your best. Awesome. All right, are we ready to do? You can move your pillow. Burpees. 1. Back, in, and up. 2. And 3. 4. And 5. And 5 more. 1. 2. 3. 4. Good. 5. Remember, this is all good for you. Yeah, right, Elsie, right. It is, I promise. We'll do mountain climbers. Hands on the floor. Your feet just go back and forth here. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! That is exhausting. Woo! We're already at 9, where we run. This is a little aerobics here. Are we running through a field? Can we imagine what heaven would be like? Beautiful colors. Colors of the rainbow, right? Pony. There's gotta be ponies up there. The puppies and our old doggies that we love. You got it. Whew. Let's take a little break. Marching. And jumping jacks. Hope you're feeling good. Good. And side. Around. Alrighty. Calf stretch again. Other side. Just count yourself as blessed because you are. You are, and you are blessed. Have a great day, everybody. And remember to tolerate. And remember that everybody's equal. And just have a wonderful day. Love you.